In reality, it's not the Jonases who die. It's the Joyces.
And men, you can't love a person to that extent. You ought to reach a point where you say,
She left. She was like, I'm out. I am out. Meaning bouncing in Menda. Mabibi zako watu wamekuacha. I am all you have now. Donasi. Anyway, hi everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Ginene with Orlando and I am Orlando. Today we're doing a different kind of video. It needs a sit down. I need to be sat. You probably also might need to be sat because Jonasi. I loved the show so very much because it was so realistic that I hated the characters. Like, that's how realistic it was until I hated the characters, you know? I think the actors did such a splendid job. Despite it being fully in Zulu with bits of English, I am Kenyan and I don't speak Zulu, duh. So, but like I was able, like they captivated me so much that I was able to just watch subtitles. Jonasi Joyce, subtitles, Madip, Joyce. So I think the actors did such a splendid job and I really loved the show. I think I haven't watched something captivating this much. And I feel like the rest of the world, because I feel like it's number one. It's currently number one on Netflix, I think in Kenya, in South Africa, obviously, and many other places. And this is not to celebrate South Africans who are xenophobic, especially. But yeah, I think they did a splendid job. It's easier for me to start with Jonasi, but I want to start with the women because that's where my heart is, obviously. And my heart goes out to all these women. First of all, the fact that, and I think I'll insert clips here where, like, of scenes especially that I found to be so interesting. Joyce. Whatever you show them you can take in, whatever you show them that you can forgive, whatever you show that this is okay, this is not okay, this is okay, this is not okay. And it's not like just in conversation, it's in even your reaction, it's in the consequences. If you show someone that if you do this to me, there are no consequences, they're gonna try it again. Because we're human beings and we like to test boundaries. It's just what we do. It's just who we are. It's just who we are. It's not anything unnatural to try and test boundaries. So whatever you test boundaries and whatever you allow will continue. That's just the truth. And I think it's cross-cutting across so many things, but in this context, it's in the relationship context. It's in the friendship kind of context. Whatever you allow will continue. This whole show, Ilibamba Juya Joyce, thank God that she was that forgiving. Because if she was not forgiving, we wouldn't have anything to watch. Cindy, obviously. So Joyce was my favorite character of them all. If you haven't watched this till the end, if you haven't watched the full show till the end, this conversation is going to have a lot of spoilers. But Joyce did not stand on business in the beginning. But kumbe, all this time, she's been standing on business. Because what was that end? What do you mean she killed Jonasi? She killed him eventually. And I like that the show starts with him being in a coffin. And then initially I was like, is it going to be a murder mystery? But then I'm like, us Africans don't do it like that. I just knew. And from the name, duh. Main lesson that we learned from Joyce is love is patient. Love is kind. Love is everything 1 Corinthians 13 says. But you know also what I learned? That love is wicked. Hey, love is wicked. Joyce had no sense of urgency. She had no sense of urgency, and the only urgency she had was towards Jonasi. The urgency that he's going to change, the urgency that he's going to do better, the urgency is that he was going to choose her, and she just kept on going back in this crazy loop that looks crazy from the outside looking in until you're in that position. I have never been in that position. Am I saying that I know people who've ever been in that position? Maybe. Am I saying that I expect them to do better? Maybe. Am I saying that the loop can go on for so many years? Maybe. But she didn't have any agency for herself, and I don't know if there's anything as overloving, but she truly, truly overloved this man to the point that hakuwa naona makosa. Like, I was just like, do you know how many times I screamed at my television? I was just like, Joyce! Joyce!
And men, you can't love a person to that extent. You ought to reach a point where you say, this we cannot tolerate.
Stand up. I was just like, oh my God. Like, anyway, one thing that Joyce did is that she let this man rush her common sense. I would think about it. You remember anytime the Jonasi wanted to make a decision, anytime the Jonasi would come and he'd be like, baby, I'm back. And it was crazy. Girl, no. Unambelieve. Didn't Jonasi show her quickly? Kwani mudu? And he played the whole, I'm going to my wife. I'm going to my wife. I'm going home. I'm not leaving home. And like, I see how she could be like, oh my God, he's coming back. There's hope. But there's no hope. Lesson number 2 from Joyce. Hope is not a strategy. Like, she was operating on just vibes and thoughts and prayers. In fact, she was not necessarily, I don't even remember her praying or doing anything intentionally to be like, oh my God, I need my man to come back home. No, it was thoughts and prayers. Thoughts, prayers, thoughts and prayers. I was just like, girl, like, you need to stand up. You need to stand up for yourself. I don't even think that Joyce loved Jonasi as much as it was portrayed. I don't think it was love that was keeping her there. I don't know what sort of delusion she had over him. But it wasn't necessarily love. Joyce was focused on the title. And actually, that's going to be the main lesson. The main lesson that I learned from Joyce is stop focusing on the title. So many times, I feel like people focus on the titles, myself included, yeah. I'm not above the program. In fact, when we're having this conversation, I want to start by saying, or I want to continue by saying, that nobody is above the program. Every time you think you're above the program, you're not. You're really, really not above the program. And Joyce was really not above the program, despite her being the goat wife. And I hear such terms describing Kenyan couples, Kenyan celebrity couples, Kenyan celebrity wives. You're the goat wife, you're the what? And so now you're there thinking, oh my God, I'm so special. Your husband is a Jonasi. Say your husband is a Jonasi. The truth of the matter is, in real life, it's not the Jonases that die, it's the Joyces. I don't know if Joyces is the correct way of calling somebody, or so many Joyces together. But the truth is, it's the Joyces who die. Another problem that I have with this types of moms-in-law or moms who always encourage you to stay despite this person treating you like hell. Until, Jonas became so much, even for the mom-in-law at some point was like, my daughter, Joyce, my child, this marriage is going to kill you. So I'm just like, you should have told her that from the beginning. Why didn't you tell her that from the beginning? And I feel like Magesh, the commonality is Magesh and Joyce's mom, and maybe let's say everybody around them. Actually, Magesh, Joyce's mom, and Jonas's secretary all have one thing in common. Actually, Magesh, Joyce's mom, Jonas's secretary, and Jonas's kids, specifically Mpume, they have something in common. They are a direct representative of the society that we exist in right now, where they easily can condemn a thing and then just move on. Joyce's mom was like, in the beginning, she was like, you have to fight for your marriage. Don't let people play with you. You have to fight for your marriage. And I feel like that's a lot of things that people are told. I don't want to say I was those types of years, but I've been in those spaces where, especially like religious spaces, where you're told when your man cheats on you, you need to go down on your knees. It's time to create a prayer room. I was a teenager when I watched a movie called The Prayer Room. I'm at the prayer closet, something like that. And it was basically a closet that a woman created in her house. Her husband, I think, was either violent or cheating or both or lazy, just something incurable. And the advice that she had received that she was very convinced of was the fact that she needs to pray. You need to pray for your man, baby girl. You need to pray. That's your boo. So you need to pray for your man. And I remember just thinking, when I was little, I was just like, like that's how it's supposed to be. Like marriage is all about prayer. And how the movie ends is the family is reunited, the husband stops seeing the side chick or something like that. And unfortunately, I think that's what Joyce was hoping for. So for her, she was even doing like prayer together. I don't remember Joyce praying honestly throughout the show, but I remember her trying to use intimidation tactics. Do you remember when she went to beat Matipa at the salon? Matipa is the direct representation of you're not going to be above the program. You think you're going to be above the program and you're not going to be above the program. One day I will tell you a lesson that I have learned this year. A very hard lesson. Maybe I can talk about this at the end of the year once things have turned out positively as they are turning. I'll tell you a lesson. It's not about relationships. I'll tell you a lesson that I learned about you are not above the program. You think you will be above the program because you think that you have everything that this program needs and more. You think because you have knowledge of the program, whether the positives and the negatives, you think that you'd be able to handle it differently. And most times the program just stays the same or it gets worse. For me, what I experienced this year was that the program got worse. The program got worse. This is not about relationships. The program got Hey, let me just laugh because if I don't laugh, I'll cry. Yeah. Anyway, the general lesson from in real life is that for Joyce, in real life, the Joyces don't make it. Actually, in real life, the Jonases don't die. There was someone in the Bible, I think in the book of Psalms, I don't know if it's David or another psalmist, who asked God, Lord, why is it that the wicked are the ones who prosper? And I feel like that's the reality in this show. If this show was real and Jonasi was existing at this moment, swear, Joyce nangekuwa nakufa. Ingekuwa Joyce ndo amepewa HIV AIDS and she's the one who's dying. Okay, women usually take care of themselves because they have much more to live other than themselves, unfortunately or fortunately. And maybe she would have survived, but technically, already by the time you're being given such a life-threatening disease, transmission is happening for a life-threatening disease like AIDS. You can only imagine what that's looking like in reality. So for Joyce, the Joyces the ones who don't survive. That's just the unfortunate part. Matipa really thought that she was going to be above the program. And I like how the switcheroo didn't take long. How long did it take? The unfolding. Do you remember her in the first scene being there like, oh, my love. And Joyce is there in the parking lot coming when when Joyce had come to ask, what's his name? When Joyce had come to ask Jonasi to come to the wedding, and Matipa was just there like, my love, seduction. At some point, I was just like, oh my goodness, like, look at this woman. How they depicted her in the show. Did you notice she was always constantly wearing red? Red is usually an illustration of confidence, danger, sexy. And they're trying to portray that. That's what the second wife is bringing. Did you notice that, what's her name? Joyce was constantly wearing white. Confidence, unshaken. What else does white depict? I don't know what else it depicts, but I just remember saying, I'm not a study of art or philosophy, but I was just like, there's just something there. Matipa was always in red, deep burgundies, deep red, deep whatever. I am wearing it today. I'm feeling very cute. And I was just like, hey, is this illustrating something? Is it supposed to illustrate something? Is it supposed to illustrate something? Sorry, I was just looking if my cleavage is in frame. It's not. I was just like, wow, she's so sexy, she's so hot, she's so powerful. And I think with red, it comes that confidence of, I'm not afraid to stand out. That's why she attended the wedding in red. Because she's like, let me come to this circus. Matipa thought she was the end. Actually, Matipa was so confident like that because she thought she was the end. Matipa was like, this is the end game. This man was going to marry me, first of all, let me just take it back here. This is all just my thoughts straight to you. So pardon me when I keep on going back and forth. Matipa targeted Jonasi is what I think as an audience on this other end. I don't know how true that is. I've not watched the interviews, but I think Matipa targeted Jonas by going to Magesh. A lot of times in the conversations between her and Magesh, she always used to say like, where is Jonasi, the man who actually runs the show? Where is Jonasi, the man who actually makes the decisions? So I think she found her in. I think Matipa really wanted Jonasi to start with. And she knew that day when she was wearing that burgundy set and then she bent to pick up a file.
Oh, sorry, I'll just...
She knew. Alikuwa anajua. She knew. Matipa wanted Jonasi from the beginning, and she targeted him by connecting. She connected with Magesh first. Why? Maybe she might have known the history, or she was just like, I'm just going to seduce this older man, because Magesh was Jonasi's older brother, sorry. And I think her plan was seduce Magesh, get a job at Jonasi's company, and then after getting a job at Jonasi's company, find a way to climb the corporate ladder. She was a smart woman. This was a lawyer. I'm a lawyer. And I can tell you, we are smart. You see, she managed to climb the corporate ladder because she moved, I think, from, I don't know what position she was before, but she became head of legal and compliance. I was watching that. I was just like, oh my God, so nostalgic. But anyway, she became head of legal and compliance. Very smart. This is a very smart woman. Very intelligent, very smart woman. And she was like, I'm going to see what this leads me. And you can even see at some point when she discovers that Jonasi is not going to break up with the wife, when Jonasi arrogantly tells her that she's not going to break up with the wife, what does she do? She went to seduce the minister. She was just like, actually, why am I messing? And she's always like going for power, 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 power. I didn't believe that she would have kubalied to get married to Jonasi as a second wife. And I was thinking the plot twist was going to be that Jonasi was probably going to marry another woman as the second wife. That's before we get to episode 10. Episode 10 blew my mind. Before I get to episode 10, the conclusion of Matipa is that you are never going to be above the program. If a man is violent, if a man is a rapist, if a man is an infidel, of course he's an infidel, by the time you're his second wife, third wife, technically, if he's all these things, what makes you think you're going to be special? Is what I kept on asking myself. Like, you're not going to be special. Not that I was asking myself that it's relevant to me. I was asking myself in terms of like, why does Matipa think she's going to be special? Why does she think she's going to be better than Joyce? Like, what does she... Who the fuck are you?
My mom cooks for Swanky. Yeah. So imagine how my mom felt and how innocent mom felt when he said, I will fuck shit up. Even Two-Face will not survive it. Who the fuck are you? Wow. It is not wild. Do your findings.
It's exactly what I was thinking in that moment. Oh my goodness. Let's go to Essie. Now, in the beginning of it all, before episode 10, I thought that Joyce was the fool. I thought that she was the biggest fool ever, believing in this man, loving this man, birthing for this man, believing that he's going to change when he says he's going to change. I thought that, wow. Kama kuna mtu mwenye ni the fool, it'll be Essie. But no. The biggest fool of the show was Essie. It was not Matipa. It was not Joyce, because Joyce didn't know about Essie and the guy for almost 20 years. A secret well kept, by the way. Essie was the biggest fool. Barbara the Builder. Essie is basically Barbara the Builder. Because Essie alimlipia fees. Essie paid for his varsity fees. Do you know how crazy that's like some old school love. Like that goes deep. Essie saw this man. This man was an infidel from when they were young. from when he was in high school, because when we meet Jonasi at some point in the series, we see him as a young boy in high school. So Essie alikuwa namwambia vitu kama like, I hope you've dumped all your girlfriends. I hope you've nini. Meaning Jonasi knew from the beginning that Essie was going to love him down despite anything. And that is why she kubalid to be a secret. That is why the moment they bumped into Joyce during the baby shopping, and this smart man, Jonasi, smart man for sure, this smart man was able to say quickly, oh, this is my brother's wife. And Joyce in that moment was like, huh? Your brother's wife? Me in that moment, I feel like meaning a catch on. I'd be like, brother's wife, I've been married to you, we're married to each other. How did I not know that your brother has a wife? Like, and how can you keep it a secret? Because I'm assuming that Joyce and Jonasi dated for a while. Maybe they met in varsity or something. Like, they must have dated. What wanaongeanga nini huko dating? What wanaambianga nini? Like, because I'm just like, how can your boyfriend, how can your partner, how can your fiance, how can your husband have a brother who has a wife that you've never met? So Essie was the biggest fool of them all because she accepted this man. They had been together for more than 20 years or something. So at some point, I'm just like, ukujiuliza, like, you didn't have questions. You didn't want to ask questions. Were you afraid to ask the questions? Were you afraid to leave? Or were you just okay? And for me, the biggest lesson from Essie is your confidence takes you as far as you want it to. I feel like if Essie had, maybe I'm speaking from a juvenile bliss point of view, and I might be speaking from a juvenile point of view. I might be speaking from a juvenile point of view, actually. But I'm just like, the self-esteem, is so much more important for you to have and carry as a woman, more than it's so much important for you to have and carry as a woman, because that confidence is what can tell you when this situation, I know it's hard, I know it's unbearable, but we can make it out of it, you know. But also, Essie in the beginning, from episode 1 to episode 10, when we are seeing her and perceiving her only as Magesh's wife and nothing else, she seems confident. She's always wearing colorful outfits. I used to wonder why I used to wonder, why is she always drunk? Why is she always like feeling jealousy for Joyce? Like, that used to come up a lot in my mind. I'm like, why is she always drunk? Is she like the fun auntie? Is she jealous that the older brother is more successful than the younger brother, whom the older brother sacrificed for, is much more successful than them? Like, the wivu, and you can see that wivu transcending even into Sarah towards Mpume. Like, it's something that I was constantly thinking about, and I'm just like, what's this about? Until we discover at the end of episode 10, when she served him food, then she sat on the floor and she was looking up at him like he is a god. At in that moment, sitting on the floor, looking up at someone who you've served food is also very symbolic. There's a lot of symbolism in that, in the sense that Essie, Jonasi always knew that this humble Makwabe will always be, like, this woman will always be down for me. Even that moment of her sitting on the floor, looking up at him.
Hey, my daughter.
With, like, you know how you look up at a man you like and you're like this. Like, yeah, do you like the food? Do you like being soft and giggly and just like very soft and very let me not giggle, but you get what I mean. And I was just like, wait. And then we just see them getting down and nasty, and I was just like, what? And I'm so glad that the writers were like, we're jumping from this story to Makwabe, the originality of Makwabe, the fact that alimlipia fees and stuff. Anyway, Essie's two lessons are confidence stroke self-esteem, or even self-worth, or even just self-respect, all that in one. And also humility is not a character that I feel like women should have. The humility that people talk about when they're saying that they want a woman who is humble is that they're just saying indirectly that they want a woman who they can step over. They want a doormat. A connect to special. Like, they're not saying ati be like akuna. Go and ask your mother or your grandmother what they think humility is, and then you hear what they'll say. Like, the description is usually like, like, be pleasant, stay guided consistently. Like, you are just easy to guide, easy to lead, soft and mellow, vulnerable, easy to accept. Humility in women is admired because a humble woman is a woman that you can easily just step on. Someone who doesn't know her shit like that, someone who is just like, they want to please you, pick me. It's the same kind of like vibe. And that's what Essie is in summary for me. Who's the next woman? We've done Joyce, we've done Matiba, we've done Essie, Lindani. Imagine, in all this, I just wish that Lindani was not Mpume or Mpume's bestie or Menzi's, crush. I just wish that Lindani was another young woman. Like, they would have just maintained in terms of like age and whatnot, everything, to try and show that this man is so greedy and he will go for anything and everything. He will go for a younger woman, an older woman, a crazy woman, whatever, well put together woman. Like, I wish that it was just another, like, in terms of like the show, but it was to depict how much the greed is, to the point that this man is willing, he's a pedophile basically, because when unakumkele scene yenye the nani Joyce, not Joyce, Joyce alichapa Lindani akaenda karudi na mapolisi, came back with the cops and the mom was like, how dare you do this to my child? She's been coming to your house since she was 8. Do you know, if you've seen and raised a child, even by proxy, who's been coming to your house since she was 8, that's literally your child. It's just that they live with their mom, or it's just that the mom is, but that's just your child in proxy. So they had to show that this man, you think he's bad because he's sleeping with some hot, sexy woman in the office. Ata your friend's child, atamtaka. Ata your friend's friends, atamtaka. Hata, like, they were just trying to depict that he was going to go for anything and everything. Indani was one of my favorite in terms of like her being a woman being with Jonasi, is one of my favorite lady characters in terms of Jonasi was so shit to Matipa when he was violent. He was a rapist because basically when a woman is telling you she has stitches from just giving birth to your twins and you still want to go ahead and have sex with her, and she's like, like making her having to give him head despite all that. And even Joyce mentions one time when Jonasi hit her for the first time, not only did he hit her, he also raped her. So this is not just a tear cheat. This is a rapist. This is a pedophile. This is all the negative all the negative things you can associate with a human being in one, yeah? And they used Lindani to show that he's also a pedophile for sure. And I liked how the tables turned on him when he was with Lindani. Lindani was like, kwanza when he got sick, he was like, all your wives have left you. I am all you have. Finish your soup. Take your medicine and wash your dish. Oh my God, that scene was gold.
And I don't care.
You don't care?
I don't care about that.
Tell me that. All you wives have left you. You're stuck with me. And there's nothing you can do about that. Take your pills, eat, and wash your dishes. Your soup is in the oven.
Alimwambia usinilete ujinga. Mabibi zako watu wamekuacha. I am all you have now. I liked how she disrespected him. It was the disrespect. Like, he deserved much more, but that one was also still good to observe. How she just did not give a. Do you remember the scene where she was sleeping? No, sleeping is the kind way to say, but she was basically somebody in the next room, and the guy was even like, "You sure your dad is not gonna feel like type of way about it?" I mean, what do you babake? Because there's no way a young hot chick like her, and I know she works out because she has those quads. A young hot chick like her, this is the sugar daddy. This is the boyfriend. This is the man. What? What? For Lindani, I liked how she feel kama bas umepata dawa yako. Like, that's what I felt. But I feel like it could have been more, it could have been worse. If I was the producer, I would have made it worse for him in terms of his experience. His sickness was so short-lived, honestly. I don't know if they were indicating like the period of time between time so that we can get like context of, oh, it's been 3 years, oh, it's been 2 years, oh, he's been, yeah. But I just liked how Lindani did not care. She did not give a about him. She was not bothered. I was just like, and she played the game well, because at the end of the day, all this was a game. Jonasi was in a game. He had his characters. They were all just characters in the game, and I liked her character development from friend. But also, I just remembered when they were friends, it was just like nilikuwa tu nafeel, there's just some energy. There's just some energy about her. And you remember the time when I think Sri, what's the name? The daughter was saying, yeah, Bongs is the boyfriend. Bongs is not like my dad. And then Lindani just turned around in the seat and said, yeah, he really isn't. And he really isn't. And like, but I could see that smile and I was just like, oh no. Oh no. It was at that moment that I knew that he is also sleeping with her. Yeah. So for Linani, I liked the character. I liked that she showed her character development. And generally, am I praying and hoping that more women could be like her? I think so. Yeah. If I'm being honest, yeah. I think so. Especially for someone who's like always getting his way, always like doing whatever. Like, I feel like someone like her is a really good lesson. So for her, I liked that the lesson from her is she saw the program. She said she will play her way around the program, and then she will find her way out of the program, or she'll find her way around the program. And she really did at the end. The pretense of, oh, I want to bury my man, oh my, how could you leave me, oh, whatever, like the one that was happening at the end. One thing I learned from all these people, they did not have shame. The lesson that I was learning from all of this is nobody had shame. I think the only person who was kind of like ashamed was Essie, because she managed to keep the secret for 20 something years. But everybody else lacked shame. Jonasi number one, Joyce and Daddy. She's talking about long, loving marriages, about having a good partner. Jonasi coming in, acting, kissing her, mwah, mwah, and then being like, oh, babe, stop it. Like, Miss Ma'am. That was so funny. That was so interesting. And then what else? Yeah, a majority of them didn't have shame. The only person who had shame was Essie. Do I feel like Magesh was shortchanged? I hated Magesh's character so much because I was just like, you're an adult. You're a grown man. Why are you letting another man take advantage of you? Why? Because he's feeding you. Why? Like, that question kept on coming. Why? But anyway, they're not the main characters. They were just supportive. And I was just like, it's fine. Anyway, we know that you are here because of, Matiba connecting to Jonasi and stuff. Yeah, but I really liked how Lindiani was like, me, I'm not going to be part of this fiasco. The savior of the day, of course, from Joyce being a mastermind was really dope. But the lady from jail, I keep on forgetting her name. I don't know if her name was Amanda or Lungi. I don't know if Lungi is her real name. I'm not sure. But the lady from jail who infected Jonasi with AIDS, first of all, Joyce knew Jonasi was going to fall in that trap. A beautiful light-skinned woman, thick thighs. Thick thighs normally save lives, but this one really destroyed it. And I was just like, yeah. I see the revenge, but do I wish? And I'm wondering, would it have been easier for Joyce to leave Jonasi if he died? I remember the scene. Nothing will separate us except death. I remember like thinking about it, and I was just like, is it the reason why he has to die, or would she have easily left? One thing I liked about Matipa, she was like,
Fuck them kids!
oh my God, I have messed up. She left. She was like, I'm out. I am out. Husband. And I usually disagree with this quote. Ati, he could be a bad husband, but he's a good dad. If he wanted to be a good dad, he would understand. If he was a good dad, he definitely understands the importance of having the kids being raised together by him and the wife. So him being a bad husband to you, resulting in you having to leave him or any other consequences that affect the children, how does it make him a good dad? For Jonasi, all I have to say is I'm glad you died in the show. Oh my God, you ever watch a show and you're just like, oh my God, I hate this character so much. Hadi, when I see his post, I'm just like, Saki Kwana. Unfortunately, there are so many Jonases around us. I'm sure we know a Jonasi here and there. Okay, honestly, I'm trying to find words. I really don't have words. Really, I wish this show doesn't have a season 2. I hope it ends at season 1 because we know. I just, people on TikTok are saying, oh, that because it's not been stated as a limited series, there's going to be a season 2. And season 2 is going to start by Joyce waking up from a dream. And I'm just like, for my own mental health and my function as a human being, I'm just hoping that it just ends here. That's what I want to say.